And we're live again. Welcome, members. Hope everyone's doing well tonight. Hope you all are just joining us from our 200th Researcher Report. Pretty good show, I think, for not having very much content. Just a bunch of talking. It made me feel good anyway.
No,
But we're glad the members were able to join us here for the show. Got incredible guest. He's the king of Dogman is with us, Vic Cundiff. Welcome, Vic.
Oh, well, thanks for the warm welcome, but I don't know about this king stuff.
Well, who else is there?
Well, I don't know. I don't think I deserve that title. I just try to help
Uh,
guide witnesses. That's all.
well, it's you and Dark Waters as far as I'm concerned, and I like both of you guys, and you both do a great job as far as I'm concerned. But I think you got it on him. Sorry, DW.
Well, thank you.
Certainly. We'll wait just a few minutes. We've got we're going to give away some T-shirts and stuff here in a little bit. Trying to figure out Kevin Parker's already guessing numbers. Oh, that's awesome. Uh, we'll do that. We'll give away we got 14 going out uh, already. So
that's a good
that's
amount, isn't it?
yeah. Linda just got them all put together, so they'll be dropped. She wasn't able to do it Monday or Tuesday. Just got all. She had to go pick up the big yellow envelope. So whenever you get it, it's coming in it's a shirt, a hat, and a wristband. I think there's a couple people that are just going to be getting wristbands. I think. But the ones that actually won the T-shirts and all, it's in the padded yellow envelopes. So, and it's a shirt, hat, and it's the ones you guys asked for, the 168s. So we're gonna give away. We'll do four more of those. That will probably go out next week. Uh, so, and if you've already won, sorry.
Can't
Well,
enter again.
Well, what we're trying to do is just get everybody that's a member a shirt and a hat, and this is just the way we can't afford to do it all at once, so we're doing it a few at a time. So Vic, man, I've always wanted to know what got you started doing this.
Well, back in 2007 and 2008, I was co-hosting a show on Blog Talk Radio with the now deceased gentleman Shane McMahon. And back then, the regulars like Bear and Coonbo and some other researchers that would come on all the time, they would come on and talk about their trips out into the woods looking for boogers and everything. Well, after a certain point, some of these guys would come back and they were talking about dog-faced boogers. Well, when I heard the term dog-faced booger, I thought, what? What are you talking about? I know what a booger is, but never heard of a dog-faced booger. So as I was asking for more info, they started describing what sounded to me like a giant werewolf or something. Some guy had seen some kind of a giant dog man. I think he said it was 9 feet, estimated to be 9 or 10 feet tall. It was sitting in this clearing. He was back in some pine trees or something, and he was behind it and saw it just sitting there in that clearing. And I guess he got out of there before it turned around and possibly could see him. But when they were talking about these dog faced boogers, I put more research into it and found out that what they were talking about were called dogmen. And it wasn't long before I realized, okay, well, yeah, if you have a Sasquatch sighting, you can go to the corner store practically and find someone to talk with and get help. But if you see one of these dog faced boogers, aka dogmen, who do you go to talk to? How can you get help to deal with your encounter? So I thought, you know what, there's a real need here. And consequently, a few years later after that, I had all the pieces in place to create dogmanencounters.com, the website. And then about a year, I think maybe a year and a half after that, I had the pieces in place to start the show, Dogman Encounters Radio, and yeah, the rest has been history.
And you do Bigfoot encounters as well. I know because I've listened to a lot of them.
I do, yeah, two Bigfoot shows now. I've got Bigfoot Eyewitness Radio, which has been around. I think I aired the first episode in September of 2016. And then I just recently started a new Bigfoot related show. It's a different kind of Bigfoot podcast. That's my tagline for it because there is no host. It's just nothing but 100% content. nothing but eyewitnesses sharing their encounters and sightings. But yeah, that new show is called My Bigfoot Sighting.
My Bigfoot sighting. All right, we'll make sure and get links to that and post out there for you for sure. And plus, I'll check it out because I hadn't heard of it yet. Of course, it's no surprise. Once I started doing this, I didn't. I don't get to look at very much stuff anymore, other than reading emails and talking to people. But it's valuable, and you don't realize it as much until you start doing it and you start hearing from other people just how valuable it is to have a place that people can come and talk about Dogman. I don't want to touch the subject myself because we have enough to do with Bigfoot. Um, for me, I was always hopeful that there was nothing like that out there. But, Daniela and I have a close friend that's seen one of these things, and, you can't deny this guy. That's what he saw. And so they're obviously out there. But for us, touching on the Bigfoot subject, but what you do is it's valuable. We talked about on the researcher's report, having a platform for people to come just for their own catharsis, but for information for other people, that people that don't want to talk about what happened to them, but can listen to what someone else has gone through, glean a little bit of something that's familiar and get some confirmation. It's important on a lot of different fronts, and we appreciate what you do for sure.
Well, thanks. I just feel blessed to be in a position where I can do this. When you talk with someone who's had their life turned upside down because of an experience or experiences that they've had with dogmen, unfortunately, if you talk with them and at the start of the conversation, they're barely holding it together, maybe they don't hold it together. Maybe they just fall to pieces and are crying hysterically. And then by the end of that conversation, they're laughing, having a great time. And you've got a lot of confidence that they are going to be okay now. They're not broken. Everything's going to be just fine. I mean, how do you put a dollar amount on that? I feel like the richest man in the world by being in a position where I can talk with these people about their experiences and in a lot of cases help turn their lives back around if their encounters, that is, if their encounter or encounters were that upsetting where they did have their life shattered into pieces. But no, I feel really lucky to be in this position.
Well, a lot of that still has to do with you, Vic, and the way you ask questions and the way you draw things out of people. Um, there's a reason you have, you garner the attention that you do, and that's why. It wouldn't be just because anybody was doing it. I think it's because it's your timbre and it's your cadence. This is the way you talk to people, the kind of questions you ask. You're always calm. You're very calming presence. I like listening to you myself. You could probably read the dictionary and I would sit there and listen to it.
I don't know if you want to do that, but thanks for the good words.
It's true.
Well, I'm
that
just saying what everybody else is thinking.
Yeah, there's so many channels out there. I like crime stuff, and there's loads I could choose from, but I can't listen to some of them just because of the voice and the way they're doing it. And there's only a few that really grab your attention, and it's the same with you, Vic. That's why I love listening to Dogman Encounters, is because of the way you do it. Sorry if you can hear my dog squeaking behind me. She's won't stop. But yeah, I love Dogman Encounters. Listening to your show, it is really good. I'd love to ask you, because you've obviously heard lots of people descriptions. There seems to be is there a mix of what the legs look like? Some looking like normal legs and some looking like dogs' legs.
Oh, definitely. By far and away, I would say 95% or more of the eyewitnesses who contact me, they do so because of an encounter with what I would call a canine type dog man. A dog man that has hocks instead of heels. It had a stifled joints instead of knees. It had digitigrade style legs. And then, yeah, less than 5%, easily less than 5% of the eyewitnesses, they tell me about seeing what are called type threes. with the hominid style legs. But yeah, they definitely can have different looking legs. But don't lose sight of the fact that with the canine types and also with the type 3s, you've got subcategories. Not all canine types look the same way, not all type 3s look the same way. It's said that, and from the people I've spoken with over the years, I've spoken with thousands upon thousands of dogman eyewitnesses, literally thousands upon thousands. And over the years I've been doing this, I think I have spoken with eyewitnesses who have covered probably 12, 13 different variances in appearance. Some look like hyenas to a certain degree, others look, as far as type 3s go, others look like what the werewolf from An American Werewolf in London looked like. On the canine type side, you've got some that are reported looking like the Van Helsing werewolf. Yeah, there are tons of variances how they look. So, yeah, just to put
Now
them
I
in
know
boxes, they can
there's
all look
no
the same.
I know there's no real way to know. And I'm sorry to interrupt. Um, but would you put that on being a different type, or could it be like some dogs have different looking puppies in the same litter? I mean, do you think that's a possibility there? And this thing with the hominid legs, would you classify that more as a Sasquatch
No.
than a dog man maybe?
No, I wouldn't. No, a lot of people out there, they call them type 3 Sasquatch mistakenly. And I don't come to that conclusion just by a knee jerk reaction. No, anatomical features that eyewitnesses consistently report seeing tell us definitively that type 3s are not a kind of Sasquatch. Sasquatch have fingernails and toenails. They do not have claws on their fingertips or on the tips of their toes. But type 3s always have claws on the tips of their fingers and on the tips of their toes. A an ape cannot have claws. Apes do not have claws on their fingertips or their toes. That right there is one anatomical disqualification right there for them to possibly be a kind of Sasquatch. Also, too, type 3s, they always have sharp, every tooth in their mouth is always sharp. But with apes have sharp canines, sharp uppers, sharp lower canines, but the teeth behind them are not sharp. But if you have a specimen that does have sharp post canines, which are the teeth directly behind the canines, then that right there is also a disqualifying anatomical feature of possibly being an ape.
Right.
So, yeah, I can't tell you what a type 3 is. I can tell you what they are not. There's a lot of flack out there about how Sasquatch aren't apes. Well, I don't know for sure what they are. I can tell you that they do have ape features. They've got the fingernails and toenails and a lot of other anatomical features that point soundly towards them being a kind of ape. I'm not going to necessarily get into that any deeper, but I guess kind of put a bow on it. Yeah, I can't tell you what a type 3 is. I just can tell you what it isn't.
Yeah, I put Sasquatch in the Homo genus just because of the shape of their feet, the shape of their hands are more human than ape. No divergent toe. You know, that's kind of what I look at, and behaviorally. And if you look at the DNA and you trust it, um, it does suggest that there is a human element to it. So, but are they all like that? Who knows? Are there, you know, 5, 6, 8, 10 different types? I think it would just be too hard for us to know if there were that many types of Sasquatch, even though, you know, you can go obviously by eyewitness sightings, but could you have two, like you have two brothers, you know, from the same parents that look different? Could it be the same, you know, with these creatures? That's kind of the direction that I take those things. Um, you know, the dog man I know very little about at all. Um, do you think where do you think these things come from?
Well, the longer you do this, the more you bounce back and forth between being convinced they must be ethereal in origin, and then the next moment, you bounce over to the side of being convinced they have to be flesh and blood. I really couldn't tell you. If they are ethereal, then why do so many credible eyewitnesses report seeing babies? Why do so many credible eyewitnesses report seeing them drinking stagnant, nasty, moss-covered water out of a pond or eating fetid roadkill. A demon wouldn't need to do that. Or if we're talking about an ethereal being, period, it wouldn't need to do that. But then again, you have so many credible eyewitnesses reporting that they saw this dog man or that dog man do something that, for it to be done, it had to be done by an ethereal being. There's no way a flesh and blood creature could do what they reported seeing. So I really don't know. I can't tell you for sure definitively what their origins are, what they are. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I didn't think you could. I just wanted to know what you thought, if it was some kind of genetic experiment, uh, possibly. Um, I mean, that's a road a lot of people go down.
Yeah, a lot of people say that, but when you look at how long they've been reported as being around, I mean, in 1853 in Wexford County, Michigan, there is a documented sighting from all the way back then. We know darn well that we didn't have the technology to be able to manipulate genes or anything like that. So, yeah, we might be doing that now. So, there might be dogmen that are a product of a test tube. But back then, no, definitely not. And to bounce back to that whole type 3 thing, you mentioned that you think it might be as simple as this brother is born looking this way, this brother over here is born looking that way. Well, understand all dogmen have bone anchored claws. Difference between a dog, a normal dog, or yeah, a normal dog, since we are talking about dogmen here, to try and keep this clear. The difference between the claws in a dog and the claws that a cat has is, or one of the differences is the fact that cats' claws are bone anchored. That's why cats can climb trees, they can scratch things without losing a claw, they can do what they do. Dogs, humans, try doing that. Try scratching a tree trunk the way dogmen do
Sure.
and leaving these deep gouges in that tree trunk if you don't have bone anchored claws. So, yeah, understand that. Yeah, you can have variances from this kid that's born with darker skin. This kid's got a lighter complexion. Yeah, you can have variances like that, but you're never going to have a situation where this baby is born with bone anchored claws. This baby over here from the same litter, it doesn't have bone anchored claws. So you understand there's no way for that kind of a variance to happen within
Sure.
the same species.
Yeah, no, I wasn't suggesting. Just some of the looks that you hear and types. I mean, it does it mean that these types mate together and reproduce? The ones that look like hyenas only go with others that look like hyenas? Is there mixing going on in there? I mean, it's things that are just too hard to know because we just can't study them. I don't know anybody that's studying them anyway.
Good
That
point.
was all I was suggesting is could that be a part of some of this variance? Are you getting mixes of different ones together, or are they all um, monogamous when it comes to their particular species? Dogs aren't, for the most part. Uh, I've had 7 or 8 different kinds of dogs in my yard after a female, so
They don't
uh,
discriminate, do they?
no, they don't. But, wolves tend to all be, timber wolves, all the same, red wolves, all the same. I don't know if there's any mixing going on there. I don't believe there is. So, I guess you could argue it both ways.
It's the same with Sasquatch. We see, different descriptions. There is a difference in things. They might only be slight. They could be really different. Some with more protruding, like the snout thing. I mean, I don't know.
Absolutely.
It's just so hard to work out, isn't it? When you see the different descriptions. So, well, I mean, I'm interested in. Do you think they have tendencies like Sasquatch, where they are elusive and they don't want to see people, or do they deliberately come out to people, show themselves, and because they seem to be quite aggressive, don't they? All the dogman encounters.
Well, yeah, they can be aggressive, but in almost every case, when I talk with an eyewitness, the dogman had this eyewitness dead to rights and could have dispatched them, could have eaten them, could have done whatever it wanted to. But once it could see they were terrified to within an inch of that person's life, it walked off, it disappeared. So, yeah, after having spoken with all these eyewitnesses over the years, I spoke with my first dogman eyewitness in 2007. Yeah, that was a pretty unnerving encounter that he had. He lived right by the edge of the LBL. But anyway, yeah, the recurring theme is these things in almost every case, they want to terrify you to within an inch of your life. And then once they can see that's been accomplished, move on. They go about their way. It's, in my opinion, I think what it boils down to is you're talking about a huge, powerful, very capable apex predator that doesn't have to put out very much effort at all to feed itself. If you think that mountain lions, which they're known as deer killing machines, if you think they're efficient at taking out deer, then I'm sure dogmen put them to shame. Well, if that's the case, if a dogman can, when it's hungry and when it needs to, if it can dispatch a deer without hardly any trouble, then that's going to leave a huge apex predator with a lot of free time to kill. Well, no pun intended. But anyway, it's got a lot of time to kill in a given day if it's got all that intelligence, which I do believe that you're probably talking about human level intelligence, then that's going to leave them awfully bored. Well, in my opinion, I think their favorite pastime seems to be getting a rise out of people by terrifying them. So I think that's what's behind it. Now, I'm not saying that when I tell these eyewitnesses what I just told you, that that's their MO in almost every case. I'm not saying that they're benign. I'm not saying that whenever you're in the presence of a dog man, you can just relax and, okay, yeah, they're just here to get a rise out of me. Because I don't tell eyewitnesses that. I make sure they do understand that whether you're talking about humans, cats, dogs, you name the animal, rabbits even, you're going to have deviant specimens of any type of animal. If it has teeth and or claws, if you push the wrong buttons, that's what I tell the eyewitnesses. If you happen to push the wrong buttons, then there's every possibility that that creature is going to attack you.
Yeah.
I've spoken with plenty of people who used to keep rabbits, and they'll tell you, you see that rabbit right there, the brown and white one? Well, 2 months ago, this lady stroked his fur the wrong way, and when she did against the grain, it attacked her. Well, does that mean that rabbits are bloodthirsty, mindless, monstrous killers? No. It just means what I said. If you
Mm.
push wrong buttons with any animal that's got teeth
Yeah.
and or claws, there's every possibility it's going to attack. So, yeah, that's what I think is behind it.
Absolutely situational for sure. And I think it is a lot up to the person and how they behave in kind. But
It
uh,
seems so strange, isn't it? That there's two creatures out there, elusive creatures with intelligence that might not be connected. And that would be even more strange if they're not even connected. That we have these two creatures out there that have this high intelligence, and
Oh, definitely.
we can't get them, we can't find them, or capture them, or study them.
Oh, definitely. And I only partially answered your question there, Daniela. Yeah, Sasquatch, it seems like for the most part, they do keep to the shadows and keep to themselves. But obviously, with Dogman, they definitely are not afraid to push the issue and actually seek out attention, seek out encounters for the reason I just mentioned in most cases. But yeah, some people, they think, okay, well, if I stay out of the woods, then I don't have to worry about having a Dogman encounter. But there are plenty of encounters where people were not in the woods and they still had an encounter. There have been multiple encounters well within the city limits of major metropolitan areas where people had encounters with dogmen that came into town. As far as that would go, how would Boston, Dallas, Cincinnati, other places, Chicago, how those aren't exactly cow towns. People in those cities, credible eyewitnesses have reported having encounters with dogmen, again, well within the city limits. So, yeah, if they want to come into town, they will come into town. Sasquatch, they do come into town sometimes, obviously, depending on the situation, but yeah, nothing like what these guys do.
Mm.
what about werewolves, Vic or Rougarou? Do you place any credence in that?
Well, I'm open to that, but when you're a pre-med student, one of the things that they tell you when they're teaching you how to diagnose an illness is when you hear hooves clicking on the floor behind you, think horse, not zebra. Now, could it be a zebra? Yeah, it could be, but odds are it's a horse. Well, yeah, I subscribe to that line of thinking. Do I think that werewolves are an absolute impossibility? No, with all the crazy things in this world, no, they could very easily exist somehow, some way. But yeah, I think it's much more likely that we're just strictly dealing with dogmen, beings that look the way they do 24/7, 365.
Yeah, agreed. Now, I think I would probably get a lot of hateful emails and be kind of remiss if I didn't ask you to tell us a story, a good one. I know you got a good one.
Well, understand I'm no storyteller, so I'm probably going to butcher this, but
It's all right.
the first
You've had
one
a few.
the first one that was ever shared with me by an eyewitness, I think that's the one I should probably tell right now. Back in 2007, when I was just kind of getting into this, there was a guy who lived right on the edge of the LBL who told me about one night when he had the whole house to himself. His wife was enjoying a girls' night out, and I think it was around 2 o'clock in the morning or something. He was laying up in bed with the bedroom door open, watching TV, when all of a sudden he heard this strange sound from downstairs. You know how houses settle. Sometimes you just hear a strange sound, and okay, it was nothing. It was just the house settling or whatever. Well, he would turn the volume down because it kept happening. He would mute the TV and listen for a time, and he wouldn't hear it. So he'd turn the mute off and keep watching the show he was watching. And then after a short period of time, he would hear it again. Well, finally, he went ahead and muted the TV, got up and walked out of his room. And right outside of his door was where the top of the steps were. And if you went down the steps, if you kept on going, you would have run right into there was a door on the back wall of the house in the kitchen. Well, they had a big dog, and I can't remember if he said that his wife took the dog with her or not, but it was a huge dog, so naturally they had a huge doggy door in that back door in the kitchen. Well, as he's just standing there at the top of the steps, just listening, trying to find out what it was downstairs that was causing the sound, to his horror, after some time, he saw the flap on the doggy door start to push in. And then a moment after that, he saw a clawed hand come through that doggy door, and then an arm, a big long arm, and then he saw a muzzle, the tip of a muzzle, and then the head of what looked like a werewolf, and then one shoulder. This dog man, he said, wound up sticking its whole arm and shoulder and its head through that doggy door, but its other shoulder was banging on, I guess, the top of that doggy door frame, keeping it from getting in the house. Now, what did it want to do? Why was it trying to get into the house? Why was it trying to sneak into the house? I don't know. What would have happened if it would have gotten into the house, especially if he's laying up in bed with the door wide open, just watching TV, oblivious? What would have happened if it would have snuck in? I don't know. But yeah, that's a pretty unsettling thought.
All the dogman encounters are unsettling.
Yeah, you kidding me?
Yeah, they get pretty intense. This Friday night show, actually, it's pretty intense. The guest, he talks about how he went deer hunting with his buddy one time. I guess it was in 2018, and a dog man wound up sneaking into the deer blind with his buddy, and wound up in this guy's lap, practically eye to eye with this guy.
Wow.
In the 7 foot by 7 foot deer stand. So yeah, they get pretty intense. And again, we're gonna talk about his encounter this Friday night on the show. It's not a situation that anyone would want to find themselves in.
No.
Absolutely. That that he got out of it. Do you think that there are situations where people just don't make it?
I do. Just like with people or any other creature, you are going to have deviant examples of that species. So why should dogmen be any different? Why should Sasquatch be any different? You're going to have killers. I mean, look at Jeffrey Dahmer. It's just one of those things that happens. They just aren't, there's something that's not right. It's a chemical imbalance or whatnot. But yeah,
Sure.
I think you do have dogmen that are just dangerous by nature. If they have an opportunity to kill, then they will, unfortunately. Sure.
Bears do it. You have bears that go rogue. Mountain lions, same thing. Of course, I think if a mountain lion would be situational too. If they thought they could eat you, they probably would. Any one of them. But it just seems to me that Dogman, don't look at us as a food source. Like you said, it just seems to me like they get more of a kick out of scaring the crap out of people.
Yeah, that's right, but it's not a necessity. If you're talking about an animal, a predator that's starving or it's hungry beyond a certain point, then yeah, if you come walking along, a human's a big amount of meat in a slow package that's easy to catch and kill. Most people are oblivious out in the woods, as you know. But dogmen don't have to worry about that because they can so easily run down this deer over here that probably tastes a lot better, smells a lot better than what a person would. So, yeah, there's no reason for them to take out people and dispatch us. So, it really makes sense that they don't, at least not on not normally they wouldn't, I should say.
Right. Well, I've got a few more questions for you. We're going to take some questions from the chat, Vic, if you don't mind, here in just a little bit. But first, let's give away the shirts. I've posted some set of numbers in the private chat. Vic and Daniela can see those. The first set will be between a certain number. The second will be between the next one, so on and so forth. So, and the purpose for this, I want everyone that is a member to eventually get a shirt, a hat, a wristband, whatever we have, whatever we order next to give away. And this is just how I do it. This is the only way I can do it realistically. And so we got 14 going out tonight, actually, and then we're going to do 4 more here. So if you've already got one coming, I'll just ask you just not to participate. I appreciate you, but we're just trying to get them to people that haven't gotten one yet. So the first numbers are the first one to pick the number between 1 and 25, and you can start anytime. I've chosen a number between 1 and 25. First person that we see on here on StreamYard to guess that number will be the winner.
I'm looking on YouTube.
Okay.
So we get the
Larry Meitzner.
Yeah, Larry.
Larry got it. Larry Meitzner. All right. Has he won yet? No, Larry hasn't won. All right, Larry, make sure you email me, bigfootodyssey@gmail.com, and send me your shirt size, what color you want. We've got this one, the black with the white, 168. I've got white with red and white with black. The hats are all the same. And then you get the 168-hour wristband. All right, next set, between 26 and 50.
Okay.
Between 26 and 50.
Going slow.
Do I get to guess also?
Send me your stuff, Vic. I'll send you a shirt.
I
don't see it yet.
I'm very quick. Hang on. I think we've got it. Rita M. Rita M.
Rita?
Was that the right number?
I don't see it.
Hang on. Oh no, I've got the wrong number. Sorry, Rita. It's late. It's like nearly 3 o'clock in the morning. So sorry about that, Rita.
Nope, I don't see it yet.
No,
Kevin Parker.
Well, hang on. We've got Paul Holland, Tracy Woods Walker, Mike Singletary. I'm going backwards now.
Okay, this thing skips. We're sorry for the debacle, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm gonna just go through.
Okay, I see Paul Holland. Okay, I see Tracy. Mike Singletary.
Yeah, that's the first one.
Mike Singletary.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. Congratulations. Sorry, everybody.
It goes very quick.
I know it goes. We probably should have put the time limit on this one.
This one as well, yeah, but I didn't think so.
All right. Congratulations, Mike. Email me, bigfootodyssey@gmail.com, with your shirt size and what color you want. All right, everyone ready? Next set. 51 to 75. 51 to 75. We're going to do one more after this.
Are you doing another one? Sorry, I was just looking at something there.
Kevin Parker.
I nearly said it then.
Kevin's on. You need to play the lottery tonight, Kevin, because you're on it. Unless somebody got it ahead of him, I can't tell. Let me look. That was just the first one I saw. No, that's him, Kevin Parker, 52.
We got it.
Yep. All right, congratulations, Kevin. You're just meant to have a shirt there, buddy, tonight. So email me, BigfootOdyssey@gmail.com. Need your address, shirt size, and what color you want. All right, one more time. 76 to 100.
Okay. What's the number? All right.
I don't see it. A million. Somebody puts a million in there.
Yeah, it's not that.
Party. Nope, it's not that.
It's going crazy now.
I know. It's just kind of skippy the way they're coming up.
My glasses next time.
I've yet to see it.
People are getting close, but oh, there we go. Miss Joni's Garden.
Oh, you found one?
Yeah, Miss Joni's Garden. No, sorry, John Kirkpatrick. It has gone so fast. I think it's John Kirkpatrick.
Well, all right, we'll have to scroll back and find who got it.
Yeah.
Sorry to bore you there, Vic. I know this is
so hard to talk and look at and try and find the number at the same time. Oh, KRG 927.
I don't see the number yet.
Have you not? Have I got the wrong number again? Oh, I have.
I
Really
think
need to wear glasses. I'm a number out.
That's not the number.
Okay, sorry.
I don't see the number yet.
Oh, this is terrible.
I've gone. Daniela's giving you guys false hopes there that you guessed the right number.
Yeah, I know the right number now. So just going through them again. I don't see it.
I don't see it either. I'm scrolling through. Keep guessing, guys. I don't see it. It is not up there.
No, it isn't yet.
You figure somebody would have guessed this number too.
Yeah.
By now.
It's just not. Well, maybe the keyboard's broke on that number. Hang on. I think so. I think I've got one. Let me just check the number again because no, it's not. It's the old number. Oh.
Wow.
It's getting late.
Still no one?
Sorry about this, Vic. We're almost there.
No,
yeah, man. Sorry.
This is crazy. Someone's very close. Someone was very close there.
Yeah, someone said give it to Vic. We're going to send Vic a shirt. All I need is an address.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah. Someone was very close, but they pressed too many numbers.
I cannot believe this. I cannot believe this.
This is crazy.
You guys paying attention to what's being put up there? Don't put those same numbers.
This is
some Joe putting 4 up there. This is between 76 and 100. It's 25 numbers. Come on. Sorry to waste your time, Vic.
No, you're fine.
We didn't think picking one number out of.
I know. Usually they get it pretty quick.
Yeah. No one has said this number yet. Someone said it, but put too many.
Someone typed it, but put too many.
Yeah. Maybe we should give it to them.
No, I haven't even seen that one.
All right.
Tracy, you already won one. You still guessing? This is crazy. My goodness. Very close. Hint. Very close there. Tracy Benna and Richard Farabi.
You would think
And
this would be
Steve
so
May.
easy, wouldn't you?
You guys are so close.
These numbers take like less energy than other numbers.
Wow. We're just, we may just have to say the heck with this one.
Why is this? Okay. Carla Salamone, 88. Give to person above me.
Carla, she got it?
I think that's the first one.
I haven't seen any.
Yeah.
88, ladies and gentlemen. 88. Everyone picked everything but 88.
If anyone thinks they picked it, let me know. But I think Carla got it. I'm looking on YouTube, so I can't pick it out. And
I still don't see it on here.
Yeah. Oh, I've just looked in the private. Yeah, Fix at 88 in private chat. Well, the numbers are there, Vic. I think you might have cheated a little bit. Come on.
Who got it?
Carla, but the comment came up as hidden, so I had to unshow it for some reason. So I don't know.
Okay, these guys are saying they did 88 long ago, so we'll have to scroll back and look and see who got it.
I'll scroll back.
Okay. And I'll continue. I'll ask Vic some questions.
Okay.
Whoever the first one was that got 88.
I might not be able to go back. I can't go back that far. We'll have to do it after the show. We have to do it after the show. I cannot scroll the chat back that far while it's live. You can't go back when it's live. The chat is live, so you can't scroll back. We just said that twice, 3 times. Same thing.
Okay. We have several people saying they hit 88, so we'll see who the first one was. But this thing's going so fast, so I'm sorry. We apologize. So whoever the winner is, we'll figure it out before.
Yeah, and I'll announce it in the community chat.
Yes, we'll announce it in the community chat, and that way, make sure you're looking in there. So you can email me, bigfootodyssey@gmail.com, with your shirt size. Again, everybody's eventually going to get one. If you've gotten one already, you shouldn't be guessing anyway. So, this is just how we're getting them to you guys. I wish I could just send them out to everybody, but I got to order more shirts. I ordered 144, and I've only got 30 of each size. So, all right. Vic, back to some questions before we get to some questions from everyone else. If you do have questions for Vic, make sure you put those in all in caps for us. Try not to make it about any personal encounter. We appreciate that. How subjective do you think some of these encounters might be, just because of the fear factor? Is that a consideration ever?
Yeah, it's always a consideration, but most of the people that I talk with, they didn't see a dog man across the valley way over there, and that's why they're contacting me. They saw it feet away. So yeah, it happens sometimes where someone might see something, maybe a bear, and think it's a dog man or whatever, but yeah, that's definitely an exception.
Well, not exactly what I meant. Just maybe when it comes to size, just in the moment you see something so big and you say, well, it was 10 feet tall, when it was actually 8 feet tall. Still tall and big, but when you hear some of these variances like size, teeth length, head size, things like that, do you think that is a factor in the moment, just being so scared and thinking that there's a little bit more to what they're seeing than what's actually there?
Well, yeah. When people are panicked, the way they tend to get when they see a dog, man, their ability to accurately guess size normally goes out the window.
Sure.
But so yeah, you could have a situation where an 8 foot dog man, a dog man that actually was just 8 feet, they'll tell you that it must have been 10. That does happen. I'm sure it happens all the time. But yeah, from what I see, when I hear people talk about their encounters and the dog man or the Sasquatch that they saw, what I'm finding is they're giving me weight estimates that have to be way off. I mean, way off. I don't fault them because most people are not trained to accurately guess weight,
Sure.
but the tendency is to grotesquely underestimate how much the dogman they saw weighed. Or same thing would hold true with the Sasquatch. What I'm getting at is there's a scientific principle called square cube law, and that law states that if you take any object and then double it, keeping it the same proportion, that is, if you double the size of any object, its weight is going to increase by a factor of 8. Now, if you hear someone say that, it might seem impossible for that to be the case, but there's an easy way to basically prove that. If you have square blocks or cubed blocks, blocks that are 1 feet wide or 1 foot wide by 1 foot tall by 1 foot front to back, and that 1 foot by 1 foot by 1 foot block weighs 10 pounds, let's say. Well, if you want to double the size of that 1 cubic foot block to being 2 cubic feet, well, that 2 cubic foot block would weigh 80 pounds. And it's easy to explain how it would. If you wanted to use more 1 cubic foot blocks to build a 2 cubic foot block, it's obvious you would have to have two of those 1 cubic foot blocks side by side, and then stack two more on top of those, and then do the exact same thing right behind them. So two across, two front to back, and two tall. That adds up to 8 of those 1 cubic foot blocks. So yeah, if you take blocks, that holds true. If you take a person and scale them up, again, you have to keep everything proportional, but if you scale up a person, if every last part of their body stays proportional, then the same thing would hold true. They would weigh 8 times as much. So I think in a lot of cases, when you hear people talk about seeing maybe even a 12-foot Sasquatch, and they say it must have weighed 700 pounds, 800 pounds. Well, if you think about it, if you had a Sasquatch that was only 6 feet tall and had it stand right next to a man that was 6 feet tall, well, obviously that Sasquatch is going to be a lot more robust. The
Sure.
6 foot Sasquatch it's going to be a lot more robust than that 6 foot tall man. So if you're talking about a 12-foot tall Sasquatch, even if you shrunk it down to being 6 feet tall, it would still be a lot more robust than a 6 foot tall man. So that tells us right there that a 12-foot tall Sasquatch is going to have to weigh a lot more than 8 times what, say, a 200-pound, 6 foot tall man would weigh. So you're looking at a situation where a 12-foot tall Sasquatch could very easily weigh 2,000 pounds possibly.
Right.
So yeah, that's a perfect way to explain why I think so many people grotesquely underestimate the weight of the
You think it's
Sasquatch
under?
on
You
dog.
think it's under more than anything?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. How many times do you hear people talk about seeing a Sasquatch or a dogman that was 8 feet tall? And then when you ask them how much this Sasquatch or a dogman weighed that was that tall, they say, well, it must have been at least 300 pounds. Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I agree 100%. It's usually grossly underestimated. I mean, you look at a cow. Cows weigh between 1,500 and 2,000 pounds. Just a normal cow. And a person that would have to guess that. I've been at the fair and people guessing the weight of a 1,700-pound cow, and it was 500 pounds, 650 pounds. Yeah, so you're right. People grossly underestimate it. What about population? You think the same thing there?
Yeah, population is really up in the air because there's no way to have a clue when it comes down to it. There's no way to have a clue how many Sasquatch are really out there, how many dogmen are really out there. We're never going to know. They're so good at being elusive, there's no way we could know. All we can do is just guess. And yeah, the fudge factor with that guess is so big, it's really pointless to try and even guess how many are out there. So definitely.
Well, the whole rub to me has always been that you only ever hear the reported sighting. So if you went by reported sightings, how many other are being cited that are not talked about, that are not reported? That's why population in an area, you could never go by a sighting map, really, because that's just the ones that are being reported. So I agree. My number for Sasquatch is 500,000 to 1,000,000 just in the United States. To me, it'd have to be that many. Just looking at the populations of other animals, it just wouldn't surprise me if that was, close to the number. Could be wrong, but I always go to the whole white-tailed deer thing. When somebody comes out with a number for Sasquatch, I'll ask them, how many white-tailed deer do you think there are in the lower 48? Don't look it up, while you're here. And the number is literally 3 to 4 million. And it's 10 times that. There's 30 to 35 million white-tailed deer just in the lower 48. And how often do you see one of those? So to me, that's kind of my barometer for, there could be 500,000 Sasquatch easily, just because of the vastness of the United States. It wouldn't surprise me if there were 1,000,000, honestly. But I agree. I think I think the most that you're going to be able to do is help people with what they've experienced in hearing someone else's encounter. And when it comes to all those ancillary things that really don't matter at this point, now that we can't even prove the things that exist, they're fun to talk about, I guess, sometimes. But I think the best thing, and you do it, is make people aware. Be on the lookout, because one of these things might step out on you.
Yeah, that's a good point. To touch on what you just mentioned about the encounters that happen that are never reported. Well, people, they listen to the show and they think that's a good metric for how many people I talk with about their encounters. But understand, when someone submits a report, it's the exception, not the rule.
Right.
It's the exception, not the norm, that they actually want to come on the show. And I've always been clear about that. To talk with me about your encounter, it doesn't matter if you want to come on the show or not. I mean, I help dogmen eyewitnesses, and I happen to have a show where some eyewitnesses come on and they talk about their encounters. Well, yeah, for every one person hearing the show, you've got who knows how many people behind them who have contacted me to let me know about their encounter that they might need help with, that you're never going to know about unless you do what I do. So, and then behind them, how many people, like you said, how many people behind them have had encounters and they haven't told anyone about it. So
That's right.
yeah, we're never going to know.
No, I easily talk to 5 times more people about their encounter than come on the show. Easily. They just want to tell somebody that will believe them. That's most of what I get. I think we've decided that we're going to do the number one more time. We've slowed the chat down. We're going to do it one more time. So we'll do the same. We'll do the same starting now between 76 and 100. And I put the number up there for Vic and Daniela to see in the private chat.
Okay. Hope I can remember it.
Yes, just make sure you remember that one.
Uh-huh.
Pretty simple one. All right. Let's see them numbers. Oh, this is much better.
Yeah.
Oh,
There we go.
Troy. There it is. Troy got it. All
Well
right.
done.
Sorry for the confusion. Again, look, everybody's going to get one eventually. I promise you.
Oh, hang on.
Everyone is going to get one. Was that it? Or was it Brenda?
Brenda. I think it's Brenda.
This
No,
thing's-
Troy. It's flicked up then, didn't it?
Yeah, it skips.
Flicked up.
Yeah, it's Troy.
It skips. Yeah. Sorry.
80 was the number. Okay. 80 was the number. Don't see any above that are
No.
80. All right.
Um,
Troy, email me, bigfootodyssey@gmail.com. All right. Steve May, you've got my information. Just call me.
Yeah.
Lordy, lordy. All right. Thanks, guys. That's those four. We'll have another show. We'll give away another set to those that have not received one yet. So we appreciate that. Let's see. I saw some questions for you, Vic. You mind taking a couple before we get out of here?
I'll answer as many as you want to throw at me.
All right. Well, I've got about, here's Boots on the Ground with Barb. You see it, Daniela? We had some other ones, but they already went by, and I can't get back to them. So if you had a question, repost it for us. Where in the United States do you get the most reports from?
Oh, good question. Because I was thinking I was going to ask Vic this.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a tough question. There's no place that really stands out as being the number one area, the number one place.
You think Michigan, because you hear Michigan Dogman, right?
Well, yeah, it's just because that term Michigan Dogman is in the back of your mind, but no, I definitely don't get the most from Michigan anymore. I would say it'd be a pretty close tie between Tennessee, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, and maybe Texas.
I've heard several out of Florida. I think I've heard more out of Florida. Of course, I don't get a lot of Dogman reports, but they seem to be everywhere, just like Sasquatch. It's it's unnerving, really. Let's see.
Sorry, I was just looking through then. If anyone put any more questions up. Yeah, I was just going to say, like the hot spots, so definitely where you wouldn't go, or you're more likely to see one. I mean, it could be anywhere, couldn't it? That's the thing with these things.
We hear the LBL, Kentucky. That seems to be a relatively hot spot.
Yeah.
It is a hot spot, especially north of Highway 69.
Right. Okay.
Does the Dogman do all the same things? I think you mean as a booger. As a booger. I like that term, booger. I don't think so. Think they behave same behavior?
No, I don't. But you're talking about two different. That's apples and oranges right there. So
yeah,
they wouldn't do the same sorts of things.
Tracks.
There's one.
I'm not sure if you've ever cast any, but have people got good Dogman tracks? Casted.
Oh yeah. That's one of the things, that's one of my pet peeves. I hear people say, well, the people who don't even believe that dogmen exists, that dogmen exist, they'll say, well, I believe in Sasquatch because there's all this good evidence to support their existence, but there isn't any existence out there to support dogmen. Well, understand, for every kind of evidence that supports the existence of Sasquatch, you'll find it out there for dogmen. It's not privy to the general public, but it's out there. I saw film footage one time that would blow your socks off. Broad daylight footage of a dogman, less than 5 feet away from the camera lens. There are pictures of dogmen out there that it's like you open up the door, let your dog out, let it get maybe 20 feet away from you, turn broadside, and bam, there it is. Broad daylight. There's no way to confuse what you're looking at as being, oh, maybe it was a bear. No, there's no mistaking it. It's standing broadside in broad daylight, crystal clear. Great footprints, body parts that have been recovered. There is tons of evidence out there. Again, it's not shared with the public. If you did try to share impressive evidence like that with the public, then yeah, you'd have some company pretty quickly. But no, the evidence is definitely out there. It definitely is. Just because someone hasn't seen it, that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
Mm.
Go ahead, Daniel.
Well, I was just say Joe's asking where's the video, and actually, we've looked at some Bigfoot images that are not out there. That people don't want to put out there because it's going to get attacked anyway. People will say it's fake or whatever, and so people are reticent to actually show their stuff. But we've actually seen some really good images that are not going to be put out there and won't be put by us especially, but they don't want to do it because what's the point? They'll just, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, and they'd rather not do it because they'll just get attacked either way. So I believe there's a lot of stuff out there that we're not seeing. I know there is, just because of that. People will still question it. It's just not worth the effort, or the hassle.
You're right. Yeah, there's no future in doing it. There's no point. And even if you don't worry about that, then like I said, if it is good beyond a certain point, then you're going to have guys in black suits and Suburbans dropping out of the sky, giving you all kinds of trouble. So it's no surprise people don't put them out there.
You think we're going to ever get to that point where we're going to have that full transparency?
No, I don't. No, the government, I hate the idea that they keep this under wraps the way they have all these years, but basically
Shame.
I understand why they do it, because if they did let it out of the bag, that guess what? You might have a Sasquatcher reality, you might have one in the woods near you, and also guess what? You might have, or you do have, giant werewolf-looking creatures in the woods near you, quite possibly. Well, if they let that out of the bag, think about how many things we rely upon on a day-to-day basis that come from the woods. Well, if it's let out of the bag that you have dogmen and Sasquatch out there, especially dogmen, if that's let out of the bag, who's going to want to run a noisy chainsaw for 10 hours a day where you can't see anything behind you, and now because you're running this saw, you can't hear a thing behind you either? Who's going to want to do that? Well, because of that, the timber industry would crash overnight. A lot of other industries that rely upon people being willing to go out into the woods and work, a lot of those industries would crash overnight. Who's going to want to live next to the woods or close to the woods when they know that when I take the trash out at night, if I forgot to take it out during the day, then if I'm close to the woods, I might have one of those things right here by me, sneaking up on me. Yeah, it's going to cause so many problems. Our economy would literally crash overnight. The government knows that, and that's why they go to such lengths to keep this under wraps.
We looked it up. 2019, from the logging industry, national parks, camping and outdoors in general, $886 billion in 2019. That's one quarter of our economy. 886 billion just between the logging industry, national parks, and camping and outdoor activities. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. It's almost $1 trillion, and it probably just goes up from there. So that's understandable. I always said that there has to be a good reason. There better be a good reason anyway. And if that's good enough, then the best that we can do is hope that people pay attention and can just be aware and consider it. You don't have to believe. Like we always say, you don't have to believe. Just consider the possibility when you're out there and you hear that growl, that scream, that tree knock, and prepare yourself. Just because I don't think people are emotionally equipped to see these things. I know I wasn't. Yes. But hey, it's been a good show, Vic. I know we don't want to waste any more of your time. We definitely appreciate you coming on here with us tonight. Love to get you back on a researcher report for sure. Whenever you feel like it, and we can actually plug some of your stuff better for you.
We'll say the word.
Man, absolutely appreciate you. Daniela, awesome show. I got to get my butt to work. So
thanks, everyone. It's been good. We'll see you all the next time.
Good night, everybody.